Our story starts off in a small town just off a highway called Littleton. It starts off with the local news updating on the death of their town's mayor, Trina Grant, who sadly passed away in a car crash. They speak highly of her and say how she spoke up for the town and was credited with raising the profile of her community. She made Littleton a busy tourist stop along the highway. She had recently spearheaded a city council vote that fended off the extension of Interstate 10, which would have completely cut Littleton town off from all traffic from the highway, and it would have had devastating results for the small town's economy. The late Mayor Trina went head-to-head with the town's treasurer, John Convey, to fight again the road being cut off from their town. John Convey has been a longtime advocate for the interstate. Now that Mayor Grant has passed away, he will most definitely allow construction to go ahead. The economic results of that decision will surely be devastating for everyone who lives there, as they will be cut off entirely from traffic from the highway. We cut to 1 year later. We see the late Mayor Grant's husband Jason in his attic chatting to a kid called Emilio, who is delivering him some candles and cupcakes. After losing his wife, Jason couldn't bear to stay in their house alone anymore. So Pastor Nicky said he can live in the church attic as long as he makes himself useful. That's not a problem for Jason, as he's a handyman, so Jason and Emilio chat about what they are both creating. Emilio shows him some of his new sketches, and it makes Jason laugh because he drew some funny pictures of the mayor looking silly. It's safe to say no one likes the new mayor. Later, we see him outside in his greenhouse talking with the pastor, and he asks if he can clear out the other corner of the attic to make some more room. She tells him to go ahead. He'll be doing the church a favor because the things stored on that side of the attic have been there since before she was born. They both talk about how the town is going downhill and that his late wife would have never let it get that bad because she was a good person and cared for people in her community, and that she was the best mayor ever. She sees that Jason is having a bad day and tells him that what happened to his wife wasn't his fault and that he needs to try to move forward. Later, as he's clearing out the cluttered side of the attic, he finds a miniature build of his town. He thinks it's pretty cool and is surprised at how detailed it is, and he thinks that whoever created it spent such a long time perfecting every last detail. It's identical to his town. He sees that there's a button and a wind-up key on the side and wonders what it does, so he pushes it. And the little model town came to life. The lights came on in the town and all the little houses and shops, even the traffic lights. It was pretty cute. He laughs at how cool and lifelike it looks. Beside the miniature church, there is a tree that looks real. He can't believe how real it looks. So he gets his spray watering can and sprays a little water on it to see if it's fake or not. As he sprays it, it looks like it is raining outside, but as soon as he stops spraying the water on the miniature town, it stops raining outside his town. He is like, "What the heck is going on?" Later, while having breakfast at the diner, he overhears some customers talking about how the rain was so strange earlier that it only lasted for seconds and only rained on one spot. They had never seen anything like that before. While there, he starts taking notes on things the other customers are complaining about, things that have to be fixed around the town, like the diner needs to be painted, and lots of other unfinished projects. So back at home, he finds some nail polish and paints the miniature diner in the model town. The people in the town are shocked to wake up to the diner painted a pretty color. So Jason now knows for certain that any changes he makes to the model town will have a real-life impact on his own town. They talk about the mayor, saying that he won't be happy with the color of the diner. Jason asks, "Who cares what the mayor thinks?" It's a nice, bright color that brightens up the street. On his way home, he sees one of his neighbors trying to help his wife, who has fallen over. She keeps forgetting that there is a hole on that part of the sidewalk. It was covered in snow, so she couldn't see it. The couple tell Jason that they keep putting complaints in the town's suggestion box, but the mayor hasn't looked in the box in months. The box is overflowing with suggestions. The mayor truly doesn't care about his community. Jason takes the suggestion box home, and there are hundreds of suggestions and complaints in it. So he reads them all and starts working on them one by one in the miniature town. Later, he sees a dog outside alone, barking. Jason picks up some of his leftover food and puts it on the miniature town right in front of the dog. A gigantic piece of food then appears near the dog for it to feast on. That was sweet. The next morning, as he's walking to the diner to get breakfast, he overhears people talk about how the town is looking so much better and how things are finally getting fixed. He's so happy, and he can't help but smile while listening to his neighbors be so happy that someone is finally listening to their suggestions. In the diner, we hear the mayor giving out to Anna. He's complaining about the person who painted the diner. Since he is the landlord, he tells her that if she does anything like that again without asking him, he'll take it out of her rent. Wouldn't you think the mayor would be happy that someone painted it a pretty color instead of leaving it looking rough and dull? Later at the store, he overhears the cashier telling a customer that he can't believe the tree outside his store is gone, and says he has been telling the mayor for months that it needs to be removed because it's a hazard. Even the tree root is gone, and he says whoever did it, he owes them a beer. Jason and the cashier are talking about all the things being fixed around town, and Jason gets annoyed when the cashier says that it was Mayor Convey who did it, and says the mayor has an election coming up, so he's trying to butter everyone up so they'll vote for him. The cashier says he doesn't care why the mayor removed his tree. It would have cost him $1,000 to have it removed, so he's happy. The cashier tries to give Jason a free beer to toast the new mayor, but Jason gets pissed off and refuses the beer and leaves. I get it, though. Imagine you fixing up your town and the meanest guy in town is getting all the credit when, in fact, he is single-handedly destroying the town, not fixing it. That's gotta hurt. Back in the church attic, he's talking out loud to his late wife's photo about how she would have helped this town so much and how she would have fought against the new road. He says no one even knows the town exists. So he gets an idea to make a huge road sign for the miniature town, so it can show people on the highway where their town is. He puts it in the miniature town, and it certainly works. The next day, a big, bright sign appeared near the highway for all passerbyers to see. People now know that the turnoff leads to their town. The gas station guy is so happy. He's never had that many customers buying gas at once before, and says he's going to have to buy more gas pumps. The diner is packed out with people, too. Finally, businesses are booming. At Mass the next day, Jason and Emilio are talking about how the mayor is now loved. Emilio says he knows the mayor didn't do all of those nice things for the town, and that he's not a nice guy at all. He doesn't have it in him. Emilio seems just as pissed off as Jason. They joke about how the mayor has given himself the nickname, the Helper, so he's lying, letting people think that he did do all those nice things. During Mass, the pastor said that she knows their community has been evaporating and that people were leaving because so many businesses were closing. But today, they were brought together by a set of miracles that have brought about a rebirth to their town of Littleton, and that someone in their community cares. It's making their community successful again. Some church members shout, "Thank you, Mayor Conley." This makes Jason upset. I mean, after all, Jason is the one who is changing lives in Littleton and making people's stores full with customers again. It definitely has nothing to do with the greedy mayor. On the way home, a hurt and annoyed Jason sees the mayor's car, and while walking, he steps on a stone which triggers an idea in his head. He goes home and drops the stone on a small, lifelike copy of the mayor's car in the small town. Petty, I know, but I feel for him. Honestly, a lot of people would probably do the same thing. After all, the mayor was destroying their town all in the name of money. The next day, the mayor is furious after seeing his car destroyed by a huge rock. He says he knows someone in the town did it and demands someone fess up. He sees Emilio laughing and blames him and says a few mean things to him, but his mother sticks up for him and says he's always picking on him. The crowd are not impressed by him giving out to Emilio, so they start to walk off. The mayor then puts on a nice guy act, saying, of course it wasn't Emilio, that he's just a kid. He's trying to get on their good side again and says it's just a car and we shouldn't dwell on the things that go wrong in Littleton. He gives a fake speech and people start to smile and agree with him. If they can be won over by a few fake words, well then that's alarming. A few seconds ago they hated him for scalding the kid, now they love him again. What the heck? Jason is looking at him and at his neighbors, and he is honestly sickened by how easily they are believing his bullshit words, and is truly shocked at the mayor saying this rock is nothing to him, and it will take more than that rock to crush the spirit of the helper. Yes, he was now openly saying that he was the helper who did all of those things to better the community. Even the mayor's son and wife, who are listening to him, don't believe his fake speech and stare at him, knowing he is spewing bullshit. That night back at home, Jason is staring at the big, beautiful full moon and sees the mayor out walking. Just to play with him, he puts his pet tarantula on the mini-town, and it walks towards the mayor. The mayor obviously can't believe what he's seeing. He freaks out and starts screaming. Then he sees the spider being lifted into the sky where it disappears. Jason took it out of the miniature town. The next day, the mayor tells the pastor that he feels like his faith is being tested and that someone is playing tricks on him. In the middle of their conversation, he sees Emilio painting a spider on the wall and asks him if he saw the spider last night too. Emilio gives him a cheeky smile and ignores him. This infuriates the mayor, so he goes to grab Emilio, calling him a smartass. His mother intervenes and asks him what his problem is with her son and if he has a problem with him to talk with her and not him, and says to leave him alone. Later, we see Jason talking with the pastor. She's praising the mayor again. Jason says you obviously know it wasn't him because he's too greedy and selfish, but she believes that no one is beyond redemption and does believe it's him. This pisses him off, but he de-stresses by working on the model town again. He makes a bigger and brighter sign to grab people's attention from the other side of the highway and hopes it'll bring even more traffic their way. While Jason sleeps, we see the new sign on the model town spark, and it knocks out all of the electricity in the small town. The next day, at a town meeting, they find out that the new sign caused a power overload that completely destroyed the Littleton Power Center. It's a serious infrastructure problem that will take weeks to rebuild. The people of Littleton are furious and scared because it's freezing outside. It's winter and snowing, so no heat and electricity is a dangerous recipe for disaster. The town people tell the mayor that he's the helper, to do his thing to fix it right now. The mayor says, "Well, I never said I was the helper." They look in shock. They very quickly turn against him and say he did this on purpose so he can buy the people of the town out, force them to leave the town. The coward mayor tries to run, but the people follow him, giving out and shouting at him. The mayor sees Emilio drawing the sign that knocked out the electricity and tries to convince the town people that it was Emilio, that it's all his fault. He says, every time something happened in this town, he noticed that Emilio is always there. He's convinced that whatever Emilio draws will happen in real life. They are not listening to the mayor and attack him. Jason tells them to all stop. The mayor asks Jason if he did all of this. Jason says yes. He did it because he is of no help to the town, that all the mayor does is hurt this town. He says that all he was trying to do was make people's lives a little easier and bring business to the town. They all ask him to prove that he did all those sweet things. He asks them for some matches and tells them to wait there. He goes back to the model town and lights a small fire on the street. It happens in real life too, and the community are shocked that a fire magically appeared and are happy because now they have heat. Jason takes off his wedding ring and puts it in front of his wedding photo, then apologizes to his wife for letting her down. The mayor kicks down Jason's door and barges in with two other guys. He sees the small town and figures out that is how Jason is doing it the whole time. He gets this greedy, insane look about him, and he tells Jason that they can take over the world. They can turn their town into Vegas. Jason says he's not going to let him do that. The mayor mocks him, saying, "You won't let me," and tells the two guys to take the small town. Of course, Jason won't allow that to happen, so there's a struggle and the small town gets knocked over, which leads to the real town getting destroyed. Cars overturned. Buildings fall to their sides. We then find out that during the struggle, Jason's wedding ring gets knocked off his table and falls onto the model town. A huge ring then appears in front of the town people. The next day, we see news reporters in Littleton saying that the ring is the largest piece of unbroken gold ever reported, and that it will have major implications on Littleton's fortunes. I guess now Littleton and its community are very wealthy. Now everything in the town will be fixed again. Our story ends there, guys. I upload weekly, so please do subscribe so that you won't miss my next upload. Thank you for watching. Until next time, take care. Have a lovely day.